Okay, welcome everybody to Wall Street Reporter's Discovery Day live stream, where we bring you those stocks which have that multi-bagger upside potential, companies going after massive market opportunities that are at a key inflection point in with multiple catalysts in place for upside potential. And that brings us today back with Appia Rare Earths and Uranium. Tom, I always get it mixed up. Appia. I finally got it right today. Some incredible news today, actually, in the rare earth space. The Wall Street Journal, not related to the Wall Street Reporter, kind of a different company, Wall Street Journal. On the front page, they have a huge story about a U.S. company called Ramaco, or Ramaco, I believe, which is in Wyoming, and they have apparently something that could be $37 billion. That's what the Wall Street Journal is saying. This could be valued at $37 billion. And they have a whole, again, front page story talking about the importance of rare earths and how it's critical for the EV boom, for wind turbines, all sorts of technology applications. So, Tom, I guess people are kind of realizing the importance of rare earths. It's coming into the mainstream, which is, I think, a positive for Appia going forward.
Hi, Jack. Yes, it is very positive to see a front page article about rare earths on the Wall Street Journal. It brings awareness to the general public, and it also brings the awareness about the importance of the rare earths in the economy, and the fact that rare earths are critical to jobs and to our basically way of living.
Yeah, and so what's interesting, of course, they mention how that China basically controls most of the market, and this deposit these guys have is in Wyoming, and again they highlighted the importance of rare earths deposits in sort of like politically stable areas. Of course. You have what could be, what you're saying is could be potentially a world-class deposit in Brazil, which is obviously a politically stable country, significant resources there, mining friendly jurisdiction, probably better than North America, I would say. And you have actually you've had some incredible drill results, which we talked about last week. Now you have some more news. I mean, the news flow keeps really increasing right now, which I think is very important. I've always said that, look, if you want to look for a stock that has that, multi-bagger upside, one of the first things an investor needs to look for is kind of the news flow. That gives you the pulse of the business. That's, the cadence of the news flow, the quality of the news. And, you're putting out some substantial news right now. So I want to unpack that today, get kind of your input, your insights into what's happening. So two things. One of them is, so you engage with this company. This is official now, which is, I think it's a SGS to prepare the 43101. It's going to be the maiden resource estimate. Now, here's the thing. It says now this is only for in the news release. I don't know if we should bring it up, but it says it's only on target 4. What does that mean? It's only target 4. Is it the whole thing? What is
okay? The property in Brazil is about 17,500 hectares. It's a large property. Our JV partners had outlined 8 different zones. We only did work on the one zone, which is the target 4 area. So we wanted to make clear that to the investors that we're going to do a 4301 report on the entire property. Like the report will talk about the entire property, but the resource calculation will be our first resource calculation on 1 out of the 8 zones and potentially more. So we really have not worked over the property, the entire property. We've worked only on one of the multiple potential areas. And this is our first resource. So there's more potential for more news and more rare earths in that area. So we wanted to make clear to the investors that this is our first resource on just a small one of the targets, basically, not the entire property. So. Okay. Going back to what you said, Jack, is there's rare earths. Rare earths are everywhere in the world. Basically, the question is the grade, the concentration that makes it economic, and also what's more difficult for rare earths is to extract the rare earths. You got to, the mining of it is not that much of a problem. The extraction of rare earths, it's more complex. There's 16 different rare earths, and they need special processing capabilities. So Appia, as far as Appia is concerned, we have two what we feel is world-class projects. One in Canada, which is the Alces Lake, and those rare earths are contained within monazite. And the technology, the know-how to extract rare earths from monazite is known. It's been done for the last 30, 40 years. So that's not an issue there. So that extracting the rare earths from monazite. And as I mentioned before, the Saskatchewan government, which actually we had just came out from a meeting with the Premier of Saskatchewan today here in Toronto. They have funded the Saskatchewan Research Council to build a processing plant, which is almost ready. They announced about a day or two, they're almost ready to get into operation to process rare earths, to extract the rare earths from monazite. So there's a good match there with us, and the known technology is known. The extraction technology is known from monazite. So the other source of rare earths is the clay. They contain within clays, and the clays are usually found in tropical countries. Southern China has quite a few clay rare earth deposits. Brazil has a few of them, and Africa, for example. Now, so our project, in Brazil, is the rare earths are contained in clay. In clays, the clays are the top 10, 20 meters from surface, and they're easily leachable. It's the extraction of it is much easier. It's also environmental friendly because they don't have a lot of radioactivity, very low radioactivity. So it's the cost is basically the processing costs from clays are low. So we're gonna the next phase of our work here on this target 4 would be a lot of metallurgy. We're going to do testing to see the recovery rates and all this. Now, in addition to this, there are deposits from rare earth deposits that are found in bauxite. They're rare earth deposits. Well, there were known that there were in coal deposits and in the tailings of coal. Now, the last few years, there have been the companies and the U.S. government were helping them to find work on a technology to extract the rare earths from coal or from other sources, and obviously that's but I don't think it has happened yet. But they're working on it, or they've found something new, which is great. Now again, going back, monazite has a lot of neodymium, praseodymium, some dysprosium and terbium. Those are used to build electric permanent magnets for electric vehicles. The same thing with the clay deposits. They contain both the heaviest and the light rare earths, neodymium, praseodymium, dysprosium, and terbium. So that's the other thing, because you can have not all the rare earth deposits, created equal. You can have a rare earth deposit and have more value than others because it depends on the type of rare earths that contains. But overall, there's a big demand for it, and as you mentioned it, China controls 80-90% of the rare earth business. supply, especially when it comes to magnets, and we are the Western world are looking to be independent of that, to find some sources in the Western world where they're reliable and not dependent on the Chinese supply for obvious reasons.
Okay, so Tom, so your rare earths project. This is in Brazil. Again, you reported some incredible drill results where the grades. Again, you mentioned the importance of obviously the grades is the key. To make these projects obviously the better the grade, the more viable it is economically. You had some really incredible grades, which were apparently the numbers were like a multiple greater than what some of the comparable projects in not too far from you are. And now again, you have more results. I mean, the stock moved up obviously last week on that. What can you explain to us? Can you talk about like the latest drill results? Talk about the significance of it, and kind of like what we're looking at. If you can just explain for like the general audience what we have here. So
okay.
You want to show the highlights and then start from there?
Sure. Yes. What we have done 147 drill holes, RC drill holes on the target 4 area, and over 100 auger holes, and basically also one diamond drill hole. So we, in the last 2-3 weeks, we start getting results back from those drilling, and we basically announced the first results were from the first 17 drill holes that we announced a couple of weeks ago, and the average weighted grade for those drill holes were 1,566 parts per million. We announced this. Today we announced results from another 39 drill holes, RC drill holes, and now when we combine all the drill holes, 56, 57 drill holes, the average weight percent total rare earth oxide went up from 1,566 to 22,287 parts per million, which is very good. It's up there. As I mentioned earlier on the previous discussion that we had, there is one deposit that is being in production right now. Is being developed. They mentioned that they're going to be. They announced that they will be commissioning at the end of this year with 1,200 average 1,200 parts per million, and another one in Africa that they're working at 500-600 parts per million, basically to go into production. So when we get grades up to 27,000, and on this recent results that we announced, we hit another high grades hole that basically had up to 14,000 rare earths with really parts per million, with really high numbers of magnet rare earths, the ones that are used for permanent magnets, and also heavy rare earths, the ones that are high in demand. So we're quite excited. We think it's one of the. It has the potential to be one of the premier projects, and potentially a deposit in the Western world.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think you mentioned on our last program that potentially a world class deposit potentially. Now again, the grades are significantly higher than a lot of these major projects. That I think. What's the one? There's another one I think in Brazil. It's trading at what is it? A market cap of
no. There is another project in Brazil that basically they have a market cap of about 400 or 500 million Australian dollars. They're more advanced than us. They've got a resource, and this is what we did is we're in the next few weeks we expect to have all the results from this drilling that we have, and we hire SGS. SGS is the biggest assay company in the world. Basically, it's a European company with branches all over the world: Brazil, Canada, U.S., you name it, Australia, everywhere. So it's the largest of the assay companies, call them, and they're also doing our assay work in Brazil and in Canada. So they're doing a lot of the work. And the reason we went with them is because they're we think they're very reliable, and because they've done a lot of work from a lot of rare earth projects when it comes to the metallurgy and to the processing of the rare earths at their facilities here in Canada, in Ontario, at Lakefields. So we feel this is not a mining project. This is more, there's no risks in terms of mining something like this. It's more a processing project, and we basically hire the largest company in the world, basically in that space, to do the 43 and the NI 43 report and the resource calculation.
Okay. You want to explain? Let me see. Let me pull this up. Okay, so we got a chart, a little, I should say, graph. What's the? What are we looking at over here?
Well, we're looking at 3 columns there. The one to the left is lithology, and basically it shows where the rare earths are. The color, the first color there, the brown color is basically rare earths in clay, and the yellow is the lithology there is basically rare earths in saprolite, which is a mix of clay and other rocks. So and then the column in the middle, the pink column, it shows that the grades when it comes to total rare earth oxide grades, which is up to 14,000 parts per million, basically there. The distribution basically on the grade, on the total rare earth oxide grade, and the right column, it actually shows the 2 colors. The orange is the heavy rare earths. That's dysprosium and terbium, and the green is basically the magnet rare earths. And again, we're looking at up to 5,000-6,000 parts per million of magnet rare earths. So that's very very exciting numbers. It's just that we're also trying to give the investors a picture of where the rare earths occur and the distribution and the grades within those units.
Okay, of course, this is all in the press release.
And obviously, the tables you show is we're showing all the, and investors can click on that, and they've got all the assays that we got meter by meter on all the drill holes. That's available on our website. So anybody who likes to see, more to study this more in depth, they can basically click on this, and they can see all the assay results that we got from all the 56, 57 drill holes that we release on a meter by meter basis, and with details with every rare earth that we basically got. Now, this map here shows this target 4 area. It only shows the RC drilling that we've done, and it also points out to the results, some of the results on the holes that we have released. But what's more exciting is the last week we released these one hole 63 that was on the west side, the extension that we think is an extension with over 27,000 ppm parts per million, basically, of total rare earth oxide. And now on this news release, we see this other high grade hole 51. It's on the east side of the property, and not of the property, but on this target 4 area, which up to 14,000 parts per million. So it's very exciting to see that this high grade is not just on one part of the property, but it could be, in a lot different areas, basically. So
Okay.
that
It might go. I mean, wait, it might go completely across the property.
right,
Is it
right.
possible?
Well,
Okay.
it could, but what this indicates clearly, Jack, is that there's high the overall grade of this target four is high grade, over 20 to 23,000 parts per million. That's the overall average weight grade of total rare earths. But within that, there is some hot spots. Some areas that could be up to 14, 20, 30,000 parts per million. So we definitely want to see the rest of the drilling that we've got. And as I said, the next phase will do a lot of metallurgy to see the recoveries, and obviously after we've got the resource, so we've got a good indication of what the size of the resource, with the grade of the resource, and also look at the we would like to do a preliminary economic assessment where somebody can put the pen or paper and say, this is how it looks if it's will be developed. This is what the economics are. And obviously at the same time, we'll be working on recoveries like leaching to see how much of these rare earths can be recovered. Because as I mentioned before, the key with the rare earths is the recoveries. It's not, and obviously how they're contained and the cost of extracting them, processing them, right? So so far what we know with the know-how for ionic clays, it's known it's very, very inexpensive, like or the most inexpensive way to get
Inexpensive. It's the cheapest. You're thinking, right?
The cheapest and
Okay.
the most environmental friendly, and cheapest also to build the mine also, right? The operation.
Okay. Okay. So bottom line is, I mean, the indications so far are, very positive in terms of that, you might have like a, significant economic, resource here. Now we're going to know in about how long is it going to take before you have the 43-101 ready?
I would say realistically 2 or 3 months. So, if the end of the year, let's say January, just to be
Okay.
on the safe side. And as I said, the next phase that we're starting now is, besides that, we haven't stopped exploring the rest of the property. We have an auger. Appia owns an auger drill, and we're drilling. We're exploring on the rest of the property.
And that's when you say exploring the rest, you're saying outside of this outside of target 4?
Okay, what we've done, Jack, is we've done some drilling. If you really zoom in, you'll see we've done some drilling within the target 4 area, the original target 4 area, and also we've got some drilling done outside of the periphery of the target 4 area. But also, as I mentioned, we got 17,500 hectares. So we're looking at other areas of the property that's not on this map. It's outside of this map, basically, right? Because we think potentially there's other zones there that we can eventually, bring into a next stage.
Okay. So really, again, this is something that I think is important for investors. There's, you have, multiple shots on goal, as I say. There's multiple catalysts for upside potential here. You have, again, you're waiting for this resource, the 43-101, the resource, the maiden resource estimate. That'll be in a couple of months. You do other drilling. And again, I think, rare earths are coming into focus, in terms of everybody's starting to realize the importance of these minerals, of these elements for, today's, for the technology revolution, whether it's EVs, anything else. Again, it made the front page of the Wall Street Journal, a huge story. So I think people are going to be looking for, there's going to be a lot more eyes coming onto these stocks. Now, of course, to wrap up, for anybody new, you also have a uranium. You also have a uranium project, which is in Canada and North America. But again, that one it's kind of on the back burner until uranium prices go above, let's say, $80, $100 a pound, which is not far off.
Jack, as the Brazilian project, the PCA project, is one of our projects that Appia has. We've got this Alsus Lake, which is another rare earth project in Saskatchewan. We've got 5 properties in Saskatchewan that are uranium exploration properties, and we've got the 1 property with the uranium resource in Ontario, uranium and rare earth resource. Basically, it's a huge resource, 55 million pounds of uranium indicated in fair category, and about 180 million pounds of rare earths. So we've got a lot of rare earths. And a lot of uranium, and we got different teams. Like we've got a Canadian technical team, and we got a team in Brazil. So different teams, and we're, as you mentioned, we are looking at reviving some of the, for example, the Ontario Elliott Lake project, because of the prices on uranium have gone up from low 20s to over $70, and the projections are they'll be climbing a lot more than that. So that's sort of another possibility for investors. It's not just the one project.
This thing has a lot of upside catalysts. The market cap is reasonable for, what is it? It's like around 20 million market cap roughly.
We're close to 30. We're close to 30 million. We were under 20, okay, and we're basically around 30 million market cap now. So Canadian dollars. So
US around 20 and change.
US probably around 20 or so. Yeah.
20. Yeah. So we got in terms of, again, look from 20 million bucks, let's say, a market cap. You got you got 5 projects potentially, which any one of these could be could be a moonshot. I mean, you never know. I mean, so far, so the Brazil projects, the grades so far are, off the charts, as we've seen. It's very strong. We got a resource that's going to be coming out. You got in Saskatchewan another project. You got Elliott Lake. So there's a lot in the pipeline. Tom, I want to wrap up on this note. So. Again, you've had some, fairly steady, news flow, continuous news coming out, a lot of stuff happening. What else can investors look forward to? Let's call it in the next 2-3 weeks. What other news items do you have in the pipeline potentially?
We do have a lot more drilling results to come in from Brazil. We've got also we drilled 40 holes in the Saskatchewan project, the Alsus Lake, that is due to come out. We're waiting for results from that. We're working on a NI 43-101 report. That news will be coming out. So we have a lot of news to come out in the next little while. So we'll be informing the investors and putting out news releases. I would say weekly from here on for the next few months until we get all these results out and investors get a better picture of what Appia is all about and the potential.
Okay, yeah, I think it's a really interesting situation because, again, you have multiple projects, you got drill results going to be coming out. We're seeing it now. They're coming out like on a weekly basis. This is going to be, and again, so there's multiple upside catalysts for the stock. You never know if one of these drill results is, again, what the market likes is upside surprises. If things are like significantly better than expected, I mean, we've seen how these stocks can just go off the chart. So it's definitely, I think, worth for investors to keep an eye on the stock in the coming weeks.
That's for sure, Jack. And I would like to add something else. Like the overall market, especially for juniors, it's not good right now. So when the market is not good for the companies, it's usually good for the investors. If they can really do their homework and get advice, professional advice, so they can really pick up some good companies, with potential upside at reasonable prices. So that's important. As far as the whole sector, as you mentioned earlier, the Western world is looking for more rare earths, more critical materials, and the market is here. In terms of the electric vehicles, wind turbines, high tech. So and it's projected to build from year on. So the next few years, the demand for critical materials for rare earths, it's going to go higher and higher, and the supply is limited.
Yeah, no, I think it's for an investor. It's important to understand again that the rare earths, these battery metal stocks, all these, again, these things, they're all part. This is part of a generational mega trend, right? So this is you might have short-term fluctuations, and we're really in the first inning here, right? I mean, EVs are not even completely mainstream. I mean, they're not even mainstream yet. I mean, obviously we're seeing the boom, but it's not the adoption is picking up, but we're still in probably the first inning here. We're still very early in the game, and so there's a lot more to come. And again, when you have a company which is sort of like you have again these multiple catalysts, you're part of this major this generational megatrend. I think and there's value there, right? We're at the bottom, really at the bottom of the cycle in many of these junior resource stocks, and when things turn, you don't know where it can go. I mean, again, we've seen Appia trade. The stock last time it was on it increased. It was over 1,000%, right? And again, it's all so these things, history a lot of times tends to repeat. Now, we're not saying it's going to happen again. Well, we can't make any projections. We're not saying something, but there's possibilities.
Well, unfortunately, we can't tell the future. I don't know what's going to happen 5 minutes from now, Jack. But the one thing is for sure: there's a trend. The transition to clean energy. There is a trend that it's out there now, and it's at the beginning of it. So I think that I think that's happening. There's no question that it's happening, where the world wants to transition from and is working on it from to clean energy, and that's happening. And Appia, with rare earths and uranium, is in both in that sector. Both of those sectors are will be involved in the transition of clean energy.
Tom, thank you again for the update, and we'll look forward to getting another update from you. Right around probably next week when you have the next batch of drill results out.
Thanks again, Jack. Appreciate it. Looking forward.
Thank you again, Tom. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you all on the next one.